It's going to be so funny if you just popped up. Hello.
Here I am.
All right, we're here again. We're going for over 2 hours today. So we'll knock it off in one day.
The whole book.
Oh, walk. All right. Shall I start?
Yes, Ram's entry into the pavilion erected for the bow sacrifice along with Lakshman.
Oh, yep. So he's heading into break Shiva's bow.
Yep. That whole competition is about to begin.
Cool. Adorning Shatananda's feet, the Lord went and sat down by his guru. The sage then said, "Come on, my son Janaka has sent for us. Let us go and see how Sita elects her husband. We have yet to see whom Providence chooses to honor," said Lakshmana. "He alone deserves glory, my lord, who enjoys your favor." The whole company of hermits rejoiced to hear these apt words, and with a delighted heart they all gave their blessing to him. Accompanied by the whole throng of hermits, the gracious Lord then proceeded to visit the arena intended for the bow sacrifice. When the inhabitants of the town got the news that the two brothers had reached the arena, they all sallied forth, oblivious of their homes and duties. Men and women, young and old, even children. When Janaka saw that huge crowd had collected there, he sent for all his trusted servants and said, "Go and see all the people at once and marshal them to their proper seats." Addressing soft and polite words to the citizens, the servants seated them all, both men and women, in their appropriate places, whether noble or middling, humble or low. Meanwhile there arrived the two princes, the very abodes of beauty as it were, both ocean of goodness, polished in manners and gallant heroes, charming of forms, the one dark and the other fair, shining bright in the galaxy of princes. They looked like two full moons in a circle of stars. Everyone looked on the Lord's from form according to the conception each had about him. Those who were surpassingly staunch in battle gazed on his form as though he was the heroic sentiment personified. The wicked kings trembled at the sight of the Lord as if he had a most terrible form. The demons, who were cunningly disguised as princes, beheld the Lord as death in visible form, while the citizens regarded the two brothers as the ornaments of humanity and the delight of their eyes. With joy in their heart, the women saw him according to the attitude of mind each had towards him, as if the erotic sentiment itself had appeared in an utterly incomparable form. The wise saw the Lord in his cosmic form, with many faces, hands, feet, eyes, and heads. And how did he appear to Janaka's kinsman? Like one's own beloved relation. The queen, no less than the king, regarded him with unspeakable love like a dear child. To the yogis, those ever united with God, he shone forth as no other than the highest truth, placid, unsullied, equipoised, and resplendent by its very nature. The devotees of Sri Hari beheld the two brothers as their beloved deity, the fountain of all joy, the emotion of love and joy with which Sita gazed on Sri Rama was ineffable. She felt the emotion in her breast, but could not utter it. How, then, can a poet describe it? In this way, everyone regarded the Lord of Ayodhya according to the attitude of mind each had towards him. It's a bit confusing because Sita is written with a thing above it then like Shita. But that's just not it,
That's
is
not
it?
how you
It's
say
not.
it.
So there's
No.
just mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Unless that's not Sita, the Sita that you're.
I'm pretty sure it is. We're
But
talking
it
about
says she felt the emotion.
Yeah, we're talking about their marriage. Yeah. Thus shone in the assembly of kings the two lovely princes of Ayodhya, the one dark and the other fair of form, catching the eyes of the whole universe. Both were embodiments of natural grace. Even millions of cupids were a poor match for them. Their charming faces mocked the autumnal moon, and their lotus-like eyes were soul-ravishing. Their winning glances captivated the heart of even Cupid. They were so unspeakably endearing, with beautiful cheeks, ears adorned with swinging pendants, a charming chin and lips, and a sweet voice. Their smile ridiculed the moonbeams, with arched eyebrows and a beautiful nose. The sacred mark shone on their broad forehead, and their locks of hair put to shame a swarm of bees. Hello. I don't get that, do you get?
How does a swarm of bees? How does your hair make swarms of bees?
I don't
Jealous.
know. I'm trying to shake my head around and imagine my hair flicking about like a swarm of bees. That still doesn't sound right.
Bzzz. No,
But,
I'm not sure what. Yeah.
Might be lost in translation.
Yeah, their locks of hair put the shame to a swarm of bees. I don't want a swarm of bees on my head.
Like beautiful locks. Like, nah.
But swarms of bees don't fly in coils together.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
Yeah, India's different to here. I don't know.
Bees are definitely different.
Yellow caps of a rectangular shape, which were embroidered here and there with figures of flower buds adorn their heads.
Can I just ask a question about that? Do you think they got the wrong shape?
What are you referring to?
The hat.
What did it
Do you
say?
think they mean like a triangular kind of shape?
Yellow caps of rectangular shape.
Because a rectangle's like
a square, long square.
A long square, and you've got that on your head. Oh, maybe not actually. Maybe it's one of those Indian.
Is it just like the
turban hat?
The graduation hat.
Oh, yeah.
Have I lost the page?
No, probably not. I don't think
What
so.
happened?
I don't think you lost the page.
Oh no, it's still here.
Yeah, okay. Or maybe like one of those fezzes. Maybe it's like a funny looking fez. They're the little round ones with the thing tassel on the top. All right. So they're wearing a rectangle on there. a swarm of bees. They've come out to party. But it's
Kings of the universe. We'll get there. We'll understand it one day. Their necks, which vied in their spiral form.
And how does your neck have a spiral form?
Come
I've
on,
wondered this one every time I
Maybe.
said it. How does your neck spiral?
There we go.
Thank you.
I'll keep reading. No, I won't. The necks, which vied in their spiral form with the conch shell, bore a triple line, which constituted it as were the high water mark of beauty in all the three worlds. Their breast was adorned with necklace of pearls found in an elephant's forehead and wreaths of tulsi, basil, leaves. With smolders.
Shoulders.
Hang on, sorry. Is that what tulsi is?
It's a herb, yeah, holy basil.
But is it just basil, like the way?
No, it
It's
would be different. But it is basil. But
I love basil.
It is because you know how you have like Thai sweet basil.
Yeah, there's lots of different basils.
I think you can get holy basil like at Asian markets.
Yeah. Leaves. With shoulders resembling the lump of a bull, they stood like lions and had mighty long arms.
Tell you what, this story would go a whole lot quicker if we didn't need to describe how Ram and Lakshman looked every 5 seconds.
Or if we didn't complain about the descriptions in the book. I think so. Yeah. Well,
this is today. I've read those sentences about 4 or 5 times. The spiral neck.
When
the
you're
pearls
reading,
of an elephant.
when I'm reading the, I don't know this for sure, but when I'm reading the Awadi, the Nigari, like you can just see how much it takes up for that. Like, we don't really know how to describe their words. For those at home, I'll just give you a demo in case you don't have the book. Yeah, very good. This thing is really blurry.
Yeah. I hope you got that.
Oh boy. Let's keep going. They bore at the back a quiver secured with a yellow cloth wrapped around their waist and held an arrow in their right hand, while a bow and a charming sacred thread, also of yellow tint, were slung across their left shoulder. In short, the two princes were lovely from head to foot, and they were were the very embodiments of great charm. Everyone who saw them felt delighted. People gazed at them with unwinking eyes, and their pupils too did not move. King Janaka himself rejoiced to behold the two brothers. Presently he went and clasped the sage's lotus feet. Paying him homage, he related to him his story and showed him round the whole arena. Whithersoever the two elegant princes betook themselves.
Whithersoever?
Is that a word? Gosh. Betook themselves, all regarding them with wonder. Every man found Sri Rama facing himself, but none could perceive the great mystery behind it. The sage told the king that the arrangements were splendid, and the king was highly satisfied and pleased to hear this. Oh boy. Of all the tiers of raised seats, one was beautiful, bright, and capacious above all the rest. The king seated the two brothers along with the sage thereon. All the kings were disheartened at the sight of the Lord, just as stars fade away with the rising of the full moon. For they all felt inwardly assured that Rama would undoubtedly break the bow, or even if the huge bow of Shiva proved too strong for him, that Sita would still place the garland of victory around his neck. They therefore said to one another, realizing this, brothers, let us turn homewards, casting to the winds all glory, fame, strength, and pride. Other princes who were blinded with ignorance and pride laughed at this and said, union with the princess is a far cry for Rama, even if he succeeds in breaking the bow. Who then can wed her without breaking it? Should death himself for once come forth against us, even him we could conquer in battle for Sita's sake. At this other princes, who were pious and sensible and devoted to Sri Hari, smiled and said, Rama will certainly marry Sita, to the discomfiture of these arrogant princes. For who can conquer in battle the valiant sons of Dasharatha? Do not thus brag and throw away your lives in vain. Hunger cannot be satiated with imaginary sweets. Listen to this, my most salutary advice. Be inwardly assured that Sita is no other than the mother of the universe, and recognizing the Lord of Raghus as the father of the universe, feast your eyes to their fill on his beauty. Fountains of joy and embodiments of all virtues, these two charming brothers have their abode in Shambho's heart, leaving an ocean of nectar which is so near. Why should you run in pursuit of a marriage and court death? Or else do whatever pleases you individually. We, for our part, have reaped today the fruit of our human birth. So saying, the good kings turned to gaze with affection on the picture of incomparable beauty, while in heaven the gods witnessed the spectacle from their aerial cars, and raining down flowers sang in melodious strains. Gave me a surprise.
Oh, sorry, did I shock you?
That's what it's for.
Sita. Sita's entry into the pavilion.
You know what number?
Yep. Finding it an appropriate occasion, Janaka then sent for Sita and her companions, all lovely and accomplished, escorted her with due honor. Sita's beauty defies all description, mother of the universe that she is, and an embodiment of charm and excellence. All comparisons seem to me too poor, for they have affinity with the limbs of mortal women. Proceeding to depict Sita with the help of those very similes, why should one earn the title of an unworthy poet and court ill repute? Should Sita be likened to any woman of this material creation, Where in this world shall one come across such a lovely damsel? The goddess of speech, Sarasvati, for instance, is a chatterer, while Bhavani possesses only half a body, the other half being represented by her lord Shiva. And Rati, and Rati, love's consort, is extremely distressed by the thought of her husband being without a form. And it is quite out of the question to compare Videhe, is that how we're saying it? Videha's.
Videhe.
That's how I say it.
Sorry, I'm just trying to remember how you said Videha.
Videha's daughter with Rama, who has poison and spirituous liquor for her dear brothers. Supposing there was an ocean of nectar in the form of loveliness, and the tortoise serving as a base for churning it was an embodiment. Churning it was an embodiment of consummate beauty, and if splendor itself were to take the form of a cord, the erotic sentiment should crystallize and assume the shape of Mount Mandara, and the god of love himself were to churn this ocean with his own hands. And if from such churning were to be born a Lakshmi, who was the source of all loveliness and joy, the poet would even then hesitatingly declare her as analogous, to Sita. It's a funny word to use there. Sita's clever companions escorted her to the arena, singing songs in a charming voice. A beautiful sari covering for the body adorned her youthful frame. The mother of the universe was incomparable in her exquisite beauty. Ornaments of all kinds had been beautifully set in their appropriate places, each limb having been decked by her companions with great care. When Sita stepped into the arena, men and women alike were fascinated by her charms. The gods gladly sounded their kettle drums, while celestial damsels rained down flowers in the midst of song. In her lotus-like hand sparkled the wreath of victory, as she cast a hurried glance at all the princes. While Sita looked for Sri Ram with anxious heart, all the princes found themselves in the grip of infatuation. Presently, Sita discovered the two brothers by the side of the stage, and her eyes greedily fell on them as on a long-lost treasure. Out of natural bashfulness that she felt in the presence of elders, and at the sight of the vast assemblage, Sita shrank into herself, and drawing the hero of Raghu's race into her heart, she turned her eyes towards her companions. Beholding Sri Rama's beauty and Sita's loveliness, men and women alike forgot to close their eyelids. All of them felt anxious in their heart, but hesitated to speak. They inwardly prayed to the Creator, "Quickly take away, O Creator, Janaka's stupidity and give him right understanding like ours, so that the king without the least scruple may adorn his vow and give Sita in marriage to Rama. The world will speak well of him, and the idea will find favor with all. On the other hand, if he persists in his folly, he shall have to rue it in the end. Everyone is absorbed in the ardent feeling that the dark-complexioned youth is a suitable match for Janaka's daughter." Then Janaka summoned the heralds, and they came eulogizing his race. The king said, "Go round and proclaim my vow." Forthwith they proceed on their mission. There was not a little joy in their heart. Okay. Proclamation of Janaka's vow by his heralds. Do you want me to read it? You can read it.
No, let's read it. I'm just laughing at me disappearing.
Someone needed to lie down. We've been doing a lot of reading today.
We have. Sorry. Anyway.
249. Yep.
The heralds then uttered these polite words: "Listen, all princes, with our long arms uplifted we announce to you King Videha's vow. The might of arm of the various princes stands as the moon. Did I skip a page?
No.
Okay, right. The might of arm of the various princes stands as the moon, while Shiva's bow is the planet Rahu, as it were. It is massive and unyielding, as is well known to all. Even the great champions Ravana and Banasura quietly slipped away as soon as they saw the bow. Whoever in this royal assembly breaks today the yonder unbending bow of Shiva shall be unhesitatingly and insistently wedded by Videha's daughter and shall triumph over all the three worlds. Hearing the vow, all the princes were filled with longing, while those who prided on their valor felt very indignant. Girding up their loins, they rose impatiently and bowing their heads to their chosen deity went ahead. They cast an angry look at Shiva's bow, grappled with it and steady aim, and exerted all their strength, but the bow refused to be lifted. Those princes, however, who had any sense at all did not even approach the bow.
The prince's failure to lift the bow and Janika's despondent utterance. He's not happy that no one can break the bow.
Janica,
Yeah, basically what that's
get
saying.
your act together, fellas.
Yeah, basically. Did you want to keep reading?
No, you can. Oh, okay, I can.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Those foolish kings indignantly strained at the bow and retired in confusion when it refused to leave its position, as though it grew more and more bulky by absorbing the might of arm of each successive warrior. 10,000 kings then proceeded all at once to raise it, but it baffled all attempts at moving it. Shambho's bow did not stir in the same way as the mind of a virtuous lady refuses to yield to the words of a gallant. All the princes made themselves butts of their ridicule, like a recluse without dispassion. Helplessly forfeiting their fame, glory, and great valour to the bow, they returned. Confused and disheartened, the kings went and sat in the midst of their own company. Seeing the kings thus frustrated, King Janaka got impatient and spoke words as if in anger. Hearing the vow made by me, many a king has come from diverse parts of the globe, gods and demons in human form, and many other heroes, staunch in fight, have assembled.
Lakshmana's fulmination. I think basically Janaka, the king, is going to keep going for a couple more lines about words that Lakshman doesn't like. It's going to call the kings a few other choice names.
Okay. A lovely bride, a grand triumph, and splendid renown are the prize, but Brahma, it seems, has not yet created the man who may break the bow and win the above rewards. Tell me, who would not have this prize? But none could string the bow, let alone stringing it or breaking it. There was not one of you, brothers, who could stir it even a grain's breadth from its place. Now no one who prides on his valor should feel offended if I assert that there is no hero left on earth to my mind. Give up all hope and turn your faces homewards. It is not the will of Providence that Sita should be married. All my religious merits shall be gone if I abandon my vow. The princess must remain a maid. What can I do? Had I known, had I known, brothers, that there are no more heroes in the world, I would not have made myself a laughing stock by undertaking such a vow. All who heard Janaka's words, men and women alike, felt distressed at the sight of Janaki. Lakshmana, however, got incensed. His eyebrows were knit, his lips quivered, and his eyes shot fire. For fear of Sri Rama, he could not speak, though Janaka's words pierced his heart like an arrow. Yet at last, bowing his head at Sri Rama's lotus feet, he spoke words which were impregnated with truth. In an assembly where any one of Raghu's race is present, no one would dare speak such scandalous words as Janaka has done. Even though conscious of the presence of Sri Rama, the jewel of Raghu's race, turning towards his brother, he added, "Listen, O delighter of the solar race, I sincerely tell you, without any vain boasting, if I but have your permission, I will lift the round world like a ball and smash it like an ill-baked earthen jar. And by the glory of your majesty, O blessed Lord, I can break Mount Meru like a radish. What then is this wretched old bow? Realizing this, my Lord, let me have your command and see what wonders I work. I will string the bow as though it were a lotus stalk and run with it not less than 800 miles. That's a long way. By the might of your glory, O Lord, I will snap it like the stalk of a mushroom. Or if I fail, I swear by your feet never to handle a bow or quiver again. As Lakshmana spoke these angry words, the earth shook and the elephants supporting the quarters tottered. The whole assembly, including all the princes, was struck with terror. Sita felt delighted at heart, while Janaka blushed. The preceptor Vishvamitra, the lord of Raghus, and all the hermits were glad of heart and thrilled all over again and again. With a sign, Sri Rama checked Lakshmana and made him sit behind him. Perceiving that it was a propitious time, Vishvamitra said in most endearing terms, "Up, Rama, break the bow of Shiva and relieve Janaka my boy of his anguish. On hearing the Guru's words, Sri Rama bowed his head at his feet. There was no joy or sorrow in his heart. He stood up in all his native grace, putting to shame a young lion by his elegant carriage.
The breaking of the bow. This is a section.
As the chief, did you want to?
Yeah, if you want a break.
I'll just feel like I'm going to turn. I mind if we use the other things.
Is that one too loud?
A bit out of tune.
They're out of tune?
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah.
How do you tune them?
I don't know. Whoever made them.
Okay. Where did we get to? 254. As the chief of Raghus rose on his elevated seat like the morning sun appearing in the eastern horizon, all the saints were delighted like so many lotuses, and their eyes were glad as bees at the return of the day. So much talk about bees. Bees are really significant. I guess honey, nectar.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yep.
The hopes of the rival kings. The hopes of the rival kings vanished as night, and their boasts died away like the serried stars. The arrogant princes shriveled up like the lilies on the false kings shrank away, and the false kings shrank away like owls. Sages and gods, like the Kakravaka bird, were rid of their sorrow and rained down flowers in token of their homage. Affectionately reverencing the Guru's feet, Sri Rama asked leave of the Holy Fathers. The Lord of all creation then stepped forth in his natural grace with the tread of a noble and beautiful elephant in rut. As Sri Rama moved ahead, all men and women of the city rejoiced and thrilled all over their body. Invoking the manes and gods and recalling their own past good deeds, they prayed, if our religious merits are of any value, O Lord Ganesha, may Rama snap the bow of Shiva as if it were a lotus stalk. So the whole crowd's, cheering him on.
Go Rama.
Go Ram. Come on.
Go Ram.
Lovingly gazing on Sri Rama and bidding her companions draw near, Sita's mother spoke words full of anguish out of affection. Whoever so are called our friends, dear ones, are mere spectators of a show. No one urges the preceptor, Vishvamitra, and tells him that the two princes are yet boys and that such insistence on his part is not desirable. Knowing that Ravana and Banasura did not even touch the bow and that all other kings were worsted in spite of all their boasts, strange that he should give the same bow into the hands of this young prince. Can signets ever lift Mount Mandara? Good sense has taken leave of the king, and one does not know the dispensation of providence, dear ones. One of her sharp-witted companions gently replied, the glorious are not to be lightly regarded, O queen. What comparison is there between the sage Agastya, who was born of a jar, and the vast ocean? Yet the sage drained it dry, and his good fame has spread throughout the world. The orb of the sun is so small to look at, but the moment it rises, the darkness of all the three worlds disappears. A sacred formula indeed is very small, although it has under its sway Brahma, Hari, Hara, and all other gods. A teeny goad governs the mightiest and most furious elephant. Armed with a bow and arrows and of flowers, Cupid has brought the whole universe under subjection. Realizing this, O good lady, give up all doubt. Rama, O queen, will assuredly break the bow, I tell you. The queen felt reassured at these words of her companion. Her despondency was gone, and her love for Sri Rama grew. Then, casting a glance towards Sri Rama, Videha, how do we say it? Because I'm so used to saying it the way I.
Because you've been reading it.
Mm.
Yeah. Videha.
Videha's daughter implored with anxious heart each god in turn. She inwardly prayed in a distressed state of mind. Be gracious to me, O great Lord Shiva and Bhavani, and reward my services by lighting the weight of the bow and of affection for me, out of affection for me. O God Ganesha, the chief of Shiva's attendants, O bestower of boons, it is for this day that I have adored you. Listening to my repeated supplication, therefore reduce the weight of the bow to a mere trifle. Gazing repeatedly on the person of Sri Rama and summoning courage, Sita prayed to the gods. Her eyes were filled with tears of love, and the hair on her body stood on their end. She feasted her eyes to their fill on Sri Rama's beauty, but then the thought of her father's vow agitated her mind. She said to herself, Alas, my father has made a terrible resolve, having no regard for good or evil consequences. The ministers are afraid, therefore none of them gives him good counsel. It is all the more pity that it should be so in a conclave of wise men. While on this side stands the bow harder than adamant, on the other side we find the dark-complexioned prince of delicate frame and tender age. How then, O God, can I maintain my balance of mind? Is a diamond ever pierced with the pointed end of a shirisha flower? The sense of the whole assembly has become dull. Hence my only hope now lies in you, O Shambho's bow. Imparting your heaviness to the assembly, grow light yourself at the sight of, in proportion to the size of, Sri Rama. Sita felt much agitated at heart. An instant hung heavy on her as 100 yugas. Gazing now at the Lord and now at the ground, her restless eyes sparkled as if two Cupid's fish disported themselves in the pale-like orb of the moon. Held captive within her lotus mouth, her bee-like speech refused to stir out for fear of the night of modesty. Tears remained confined within the corner of her eyes. Footnote. Shedding of tears is regarded in India as an ill omen. Therefore, on auspicious occasions, Indian women would take particular care not to allow tears to drop from their eyes.
It's interesting. So don't cry in India.
Tears are regarded in India as an ill omen. What about,
It's interesting.
what about when you can't help it? Like when you stub your toe and
Yeah, well,
just
there's lots of people who can't cry, like they just can't.
Mm.
So you can teach yourself to not be able to. It's interesting.
I don't know. I think crying's a natural kind of.
Babies do it.
Yeah. Like crying also can clean your eyes as well.
What are they talking about? What's the context of why are they bringing this up?
Well, because tears remain confined within the corner of her Sita's eyes, just as the gold of a stingy miser remains buried in the nook of his house. So she doesn't want to cry because she doesn't want to shed tears because it's an ill omen.
But hang on, just as. What's the next bit? Just as.
Just as the gold of a stingy miser remains buried in the nook of his house.
So they're suggesting that it's actually something good. Even though it's not.
don't know.
Do you hear what I'm saying? They're suggesting that.
Well,
There's to me that says that crying is gold.
maybe. I mean, the footnote is saying that the shedding of tears is regarded in India as an ill omen.
Yes, but the tone of the gold comment, it's saying that it's actually something not worth restraining. You know, a stingy person hanging on to gold. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's just the footnote is saying something different.
Well, no, but I think it's just probably what it's like in that culture. But the book is suggesting otherwise. That makes sense.
Sita felt abashed when she perceived her great agitation of mind. Summoning up courage in her heart, therefore, she confidently said to herself, "If I am true to my vow in thought, word, and deed, and if my mind is really attached to the lotus feet of Sri Rama, I am sure God, who dwells in the heart of all, will make me Sri Rama's bond slave." Could have chosen a better word. For one gets united without doubt with him for whom one cherishes true love. Casting a glance at the Lord, she resolved to love him even at the cost of her life. Sri Rama, the embodiment of compassion, understood it all. Looking at Sita, he glanced at the bow as Garuda, the king of birds and a sworn enemy of serpents, like a kookaburra, would gaze on a poor little snake. When Lakshman perceived that the jewel of Raghu's race had cast a glance at the bow of Hara, the hair on his body stood erect, and he uttered the following words, pressing the crust of the earth under his foot. These pages were stuck together, I think. O elephants guarding the cardinal points, O divine tortoise, O serpent king, and O divine boar. Okay. Footnote.
This is Lakshmana.
The divine tortoise referred to here is the same who served as the base for churning the ocean of milk at the dawn of creation. And the divine boar refers to the manifestation of the Lord as a boar in order to lift the earth out of the waters in which the demon Hiranyaksha had submerged it. The tortoise, as well as the boar, are represented here as ever holding the earth, conjointly with the serpent king, the one on its back and the other on its tusks. Cool. So as all those three animals steadily hold the earth that it may not shake, Sri Rama seeks to break the bow of Shankara. Therefore, listen to my command and be ready. When Rama drew near to the bow, men and women present there invoked in his behalf the help of the gods, as well as their past good deeds. Everyone's got their fingers crossed. I added that, but it's true. The doubts
Maybe you should write Emma note.
Footnote. Fingers crossed. Everyone cross your fingers now. Where was I? The doubts and ignorance of all who had assembled there, the arrogance of the foolish kings, the proud presentations of Parashurama, the chief of Bhrugu's race, the apprehension of gods and the great sages, the distress of Sita, King Janaka's remorse, and the fire of the queen's terrible agony. All these bordered together the great bark of Shambho's bow, with whose help they sought to cross the boundless ocean of Sri Rama's strength of arm. But there was no helmsman to steer the ship. Yes, I do. Rama first looked at the crowd of spectators and found them motionless as figures of a drawing.
Oh, that was so good.
gracious Lord then turned his eyes towards Sita and perceived her in deep distress. He found Videha's daughter greatly agitated. Every moment that passed hung on her as a whole lifetime of the universe. If a thirsty man dies for want of water, of what avail is a lake of nectar to him once he is dead? What good is a shower when the whole crop is dried up? What use repenting over an opportunity lost? What use is crying over spilt milk?
You added that, Emma. You need to let us know, man. Like,
Okay. Thinking thus within himself, the Lord looked at Janaka's daughter and thrilled all over to perceive her singular devotion. He inwardly made obeisance.
Obeisance.
That's it. To
Obeisance?
obeisance.
I think it's obeisance.
It's obeisance. To his preceptor Vishvamitra, and took up the bow with great agility. The bow gleamed like a flash of lightning as he grasped it in his hand, and then it appeared like a circle in the sky. No one knew when he took it in his hands, strung it, and drew it tight. Everyone only saw him standing with the bow drawn. Instantly, Sri Rama broke the bow in halves. The awful crash resounded through all the spheres. The awful crash reached through the spheres. The horses of the sun god strayed from their course. The elephants of the quarters trumpeted. The earth shook. The serpent king, the divine boar, and the divine tortoise fidgeted about. Gods, demons, and sages put their hands to their ears, and all began anxiously to ponder the cause. But when they learnt, says Tulsidasa, that Sri Rama had broken the bow, they uttered shouts of victory. Yay! Hurrah! The bow of Shankara was the bark, and Rama's strength of arm was the ocean to be crossed with its aid. The whole host, of which we have spoken above, and that had boarded the ship out of ignorance, was drowned with the bark. I feel like I've missed something there, but anyway, on we go. The Lord tossed on the ground the two broken pieces of the bow, and everyone rejoiced at the sight. Vishvamitra stood as the holy ocean, full of the sweet and unfathomable water of love. Beholding Sri Rama's beauty, which represented the full moon, the sage felt an increasing thrill of joy, which may be compared to a rising tide in the ocean. Kettle drums sounded with great noise, and the heavens, celestial damsels sang and danced. Brahma and the other gods, siddhas, and great sages praised the Lord and gave him blessings, raining down wreaths and flowers of various colors. The Kinnaras, a class of demigods, sang melodious strains. The shouts of victory re-echoed throughout the universe. The crash that followed the breaking of the bow was drowned in it. Everywhere, men and women in their joy kept saying that Rama had broken the massive bow of Shambhos. Talented bards, minstrels, and panegyrists sang praises, and everybody gave away horses, elephants, riches, jewels, and raiments as an act of invocation of God's blessing on the youthful champion. There was a crash of cymbals and tabors, conches and clarinets, drums and sweet-sounding kettle drums, both large and small, and many other charming instruments also played. Everywhere. That's light.
Oh,
there was light.
there's a book.
There was light. The breaking of the bow. The sun shone.
You're adding things, Emma.
Now I've lost it. Everywhere, young women sang auspicious strains. The queen and her companion. Strains. These strains are auspicious. The queen with her companions was much delighted,
Much delighted.
as though a withering crop of paddy had been refreshed by a shower.
Shower.
Refreshing.
That's good.
King Janaka was now carefree and felt gratified, as if a tired swimmer had reached a shallow. He wiped his brow and said, "Whew!" I added that. The king's countenance fell at the breaking of the bow, just as a lamp is dimmed at the dawn of day. Sita's light could only be compared to that of a female chitaka bird on receiving a raindrop when the sun is in the same longitude as the constellation named Svati. Footnote.
Sun's nearly in Saudi now.
Was it?
Nearly.
According to, so this is a footnote. According to the Indian tradition, a chataka bird would slake its thirst only with a raindrop obtained when the sun is in the same longitude as the Arcturus, which is generally in the month of October, a month when showers are of rare occurrence. So they called Svati Arcturus as well. I don't know. Okay, back to the text. Lakshmana fixed his eyes on Rama as the young of a kakora bird gaze on the moon. It's from Arrested Development. Sorry, a bird gazes on the moon. Shatananda then gave the word, and Sita advanced towards Rama. Sorry, I can only find these ones. The other ones are too far away. Sita places the wreath of victory around Rama's neck.
Oh, I like the key change there for the.
Yeah.
Just happened to change the key on the Tampura. Can you just point for me?
263.
On the bottom here. Yep. Accompanied by her fair and talented companions who were singing festival songs, she paced like a cygnet, her limbs possessing infinite charm. In the midst of her companions, Sita shone as a personification of supreme beauty among other embodiments of beauty. She held in one of her lotus hands the fair wreath of victory, resplendent with the glory of triumph over the whole universe. While her body shrank with modesty, her heart was full of rapture. Her hidden love could not be perceived by others. As she drew near and beheld Sri Rama's beauty, Princess Sita stood motionless as a portal. A clever companion who perceived her in this condition exhorted her, saying, Invest the bridegroom with the beautiful wreath of victory. At this she raised the wreath with both of her hands, but was too overwhelmed with emotion to garland him. In this act, her uplifted hands shone as if a pair of lotuses with their stalks were timidly investing the moon with a wreath of victory. At this charming sight, her companions broke into a song, while Sita placed the wreath of victory around Rama's neck so as to adorn his breast. Witnessing the wreath of victory resting on Sri Rama's bosom, gods rained down flowers while the kings all shrank in confusion like lilies at the rising of the sun. There was music both in the city and in the heavens, while the wicked were downcast. The virtuous beamed with joy. Gods, Kinnaras, men, Nagas, and great sages uttered blessings with shouts of victory. Celestial dames danced and sang, and handfuls of flowers were showered again and again. Here and there the Brahmanas recited the Vedas, while panegyrists sang praises. The glad tidings spread throughout the earth, the subterranean regions and heaven, that Sri Rama had broken the bow and won the hand of Sita. The people of the city waved lights round the pair in order to ward off evil, and regardless of their means, they scattered gifts in profusion as an act of invocation of divine blessings on the couple. The pair of Sri Rama and Sita shone as if beauty and the sentiment of love had met together in human form. Her companions urged her, "Sita, clasp your lord's feet," but Sita was too much afraid to touch his feet. Remembering the fate of the sage Gautama's wife, Ahalya, she would not touch his feet with her hands. The jewel of Raghu's race inwardly smiled to perceive her transcendent love. Then, as they looked on Sita, a few princes were filled with longing for her. Those wicked degenerate degenerate sorry. Degenerate fools grew indignant. Rising from their seats one after another and donning their armor, the wretches began to brag about. Someone said, "Carry off Sita by force, and capturing the two princes, hold them in bondage.
Sore losers.
No purpose will be served by merely breaking the bow, for who shall marry the princess while we still live? Should Janaka come forward to help them, rout him in battle along with the two brothers?" When the good kings heard these words, they said, "Shame itself feels shy in approaching this assembly of princes. Your might, glory, valor, fame, and honor have been shattered along with the bow. It is the same valor of which you are boasting, or have you since acquired it anew from somewhere else? It is because such sorry, some of them have. It is because such is your mentality that God has blackened your faces. Giving up jealousy, arrogance, and anger, therefore feast your eyes upon Rama, and knowing Lakshmana's wrath to be a blazing fire, do not allow yourselves to be consumed by it like a moth. As a crow should seek an offering set apart for Garuda, the king of birds, as a rabbit should covet the share of a lion, as a man who is angry without any cause should expect happiness, as an enemy of Shiva should crave for riches of all kinds, as a greedy and covetous man should long for good fame, and as a gallant should aspire to be free from scandal, and as one who is averse to Sri Hari's feet should hanker after the highest destiny, liberation. Your longing, O princess, for Sita is of the same category. That was a long sentence. When Sita heard the tumult, she got afraid and her companions took her to the queen. While Sri Rama advanced to his guru, easy in mind and inwardly praising her affection. The queens, as well as Sita, were filled with anxiety and wondered what Providence had in store for them. On hearing the words of the princes, Lakshmana looked hither and hither and thither for fear of Rama. However, he could not speak.
Okay. So we've got the arrival of Parashurama, exchange of hot words between Lakshmana and Parashurama, and
We finished?
Rama's triumph over the latter. So I think that goes into another section, and yeah we should finish here.
Yep.
Because we've had the breaking of the bow, and obviously Sita has given the garland to Ram, so that means they're gonna be married, and it's all
Hunky dory.
well, they're gonna have a bit of an argument with someone, and then we're gonna get to the wedding.
Cool. Well, we've been reading for a long time today, so time to finish up. Yep. That's about it. Catch ya.
Bye.